Recently, we received some emails from people that said, you're always talking about learning about yourselves when you're on your travels. What is it that you're learning? Well, we're going to have two great discussions here on this episode of Stories, Faces, Places and give you kind of ideas to what we're learning. So stay with us for this episode of Stories, Faces, Places. Connecting the world one person at a time, experiencing a constant variety of life, feeling an inspiration that comes from unforeseen places. This is Stories, Faces, Places with Al and Laura. So it's time for some self-reveal, to disclose a little bit about ourselves. You know, we're always talking about we learn so much, and so people are asking, well, what are you learning? What are you learning about yourself? And it's really interesting. We are learning a lot by our interactions with others from different countries, with different traditions, with different beliefs. But I got to tell you, all in all, it's pretty much we all kind of want the same stuff.
We totally.
I don't mean stuff as in things. No. I mean the same life.
Everybody from around the world, basically, I don't care who you are, really, really all want the same things. That's a good, safe place to raise a family, good education, enough money to put a roof over your head and buy food. It really comes down to those same things. The
travelers that we've met are very tolerant people. I've noticed a lot of the people that we meet along the way seem to be very tolerant of others. They'll listen to us, we'll listen to them. There's not a lot of interruption and disbelief, I guess.
Or trying to change our beliefs to theirs. Yeah. That's what I find, that they're not trying to say, well, you're stupid for believing that. It's very, we have these great interactions where both sides, we listen to them, they listen to us.
And it's that listening where you learn about others. Like those two women in Panama that we ran into on the island of Tobago, a little island off the coast of Panama, and they were from Amsterdam. And we got into a discussion. Everybody likes to talk about American politics because American politics are kind of all over the world.
Well, and the whole world was watching, of course, these last year or so with American politics. And they do. Every place we go, everybody wants to talk about our country and what's happening.
But one of the things they shared with us is that they have a lot of the same issues. They have the same issues in regards to, for example, immigration. They said that they have a very strict immigration laws. I mean, you cannot just go into that country.
You have stay there and live there and work.
Exactly. You have to have the correct permits. You have to be a resident there for 5 years before you can even apply to
become a citizen?
Become a citizen.
Wow, 5 years.
There, and you have to be legally 5 years, not just living there.
Yeah.
They throw you out if you're there illegally.
Right.
So it was interesting to see that. And their reasoning was because if you're not part of the system where you're working and you're contributing the tax dollars that you make to the system, then all you are is a stress on the system and a taker. And they don't like that. They want everybody to be part of the whole process.
Well, I understand, but let me throw this in. What if you are there illegally and you are working and you are somehow paying taxes? Well,
you're not going to be there illegally paying taxes and part of the system because they won't let you because you can't get a job, because you can't get a work permit without having all of the proper filings and everything.
Oh, right. Okay.
They won't let you work.
And
then if somebody gets caught,
they send you out of the country?
They send you.
And I don't think that...
I mean, we saw that. We actually saw that when we were in Austria. We saw the police stopping people and asking them for papers.
Yeah, that's right, we did.
And when they couldn't provide papers, they were marching them away.
I was going to say, I don't think that is unique to the Netherlands. That is in every country that we've been in. I can't think of a country that another person can enter, live, and work without going through the legal system. And it's very, very difficult to enter illegally. I don't even know how you do it to any of these countries. They keep an eye on you when you enter the country with your passport, and they check on you. Like if you can't even go into another country for more than 3 months, and you have to leave or something. A lot of them have like rules like that.
So they, like us, they want to welcome immigrants, but let's do it legally, they say. Let's just come legally and follow the rules and become part of the system.
And I think that's part of the issue we face as Americans, because we truly are a welcoming society. The United States was born out of immigrants, and it has always been a place for people to come from all nations to start a life. So I think that's a lot of our struggle, is that, we want to welcome other people, but it all goes back to, it doesn't really work if they're coming in, if it's illegal. If
you're taking advantage of the system.
Without doing it legally, right?
Yeah.
So it's a tough. We had a great discussion with them.
They face. I'm changing the subject now from immigration, because they face the same issues that we face with the whole healthcare thing. They said that their costs of healthcare are crazy. They're through the roof. They have socialized medicine, but they said theirs is still crazy. They haven't perfected it. It's still a mess. It's still not that good, and they still pay for private
because the public is not that good.
Because they're saying that the public insurance is not that good anyway.
Well, we learned that in Portugal as well. Same people, speaking to people there, they said the same thing, that while socialized medicine sounds good on paper, it wasn't working. They were paying separately, a lot of money out of pocket to go to private hospitals and private doctors because of the wait and how bad it was with the public.
Yeah, they said they had to wait for days and days and days to get an appointment with a doctor on the public side.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of amazing.
Well, it's another tough issue, because I think, again, from just discussions we have from people that we've met along the way, everybody wants to see all people taken care of and having insurance and health care. But it's, how do you do it that actually works? There's a lot of idealized thinking out there to get this done. So, it's interesting to hear other countries who have tried different methods and to see what's working and what's not.
And I don't think there's any easy fix, and there's no quick fix either.
Not at all.
It's going to take some time. It's going to take some thought.
Well, I personally believe it's going to take, I think it should take thought from both sides of the aisle, if you will.
You're getting political, but I mean, it requires, they have to learn too from others that have been there. Like Europe's been there longer than we have in that
socialized
whole
medicine.
socialized
and Canada,
medicine.
For
and
that
Canada
matter.
has. So we need to study their problems. Mm-hmm. So that we just don't repeat the same problems. And right now, all we're doing is repeating the same problems. And I only say that because I don't have any answers. I'm only saying that because of all of the discussions we've had with people from all over the globe. They're all facing the issues that we seem to be getting ourselves into right now, in my opinion.
Well, that's it. I think what it comes down to is we do all have the same issues, and we all have the same desires, and that is safety, health, education, all the same things. And it's how to do it for the best interest of all people, and that's a tough thing.
So we'd love to hear from you guys what you think about that, what you think about travel. That's kind of one of the things that we seem to learn a lot about through our travels, through other people, is that the world is facing all the similar problems. It doesn't matter what country you're from, you still want the same things. It's how do we resolve them? How do they become resolved? And you have to look at all of the different countries that have tried all different things and see. And then maybe we can come to some sort of formula that works. But we have to be tolerant, and we have to talk to each other in order to do it.
Talk to each other and listen to each other. And that's everybody. Everybody listen to hear both, all the different ideas out there.
So that's one of the lessons that we learned in our travels is tolerance of others. We do a lot of listening and a lot of sharing, and that's a big one for us. We've learned how to do that more than we did before we were traveling, I would say, because you don't know what you don't know.
That's right.
And so when you think you know and you don't listen, then you certainly don't know. And that's when you run into intolerance and all other stuff.
You know what I want to add to this as well that I have learned? When we do sit down and have these great discussions and deep discussions with people from around the globe, and you learn about their stories and their backgrounds and their families, and then you talk about their governments and their countries, and we do listen because first of all, we find it interesting and fascinating, and we learn a lot, but that's what also teaches me how to love. It's the amazing side effect, I think, that I'm getting, because it's really easy to judge from afar a particular country, a particular government, a particular people. But when I'm sitting there and I'm listening and I'm talking, and it's on such a human level where they're sharing about their family struggles, it really is amazing how much your heart opens up to just all people from all over. That's what I'm getting from my travels, is that love for everyone else.
I think that's great, and that reminds me of another story. It's about being grateful. I think this one is more about being grateful for what you have. It's the story of that young man that we met from Venezuela, who I'll give you the little gist of it. He had a degree he's 27. He had a degree in petroleum engineering. And trying to better himself, he left his country of Venezuela to go to Houston for a job in the petroleum industry. And 6 months after he started his job, the oil industry crashed, and he was out of a job. Thousands of people lost their jobs when the price of oil went down on the world market, and he was out of a job. Now, he came from a very poor household in Venezuela. And if you do a little history on Venezuela, there's a dictator there that's not a really nice guy. And so he can't work in his country with his petroleum degree and make as much money as he can if he goes obviously to the U.S. But right now, he is in Panama working at an ice cream shop. And he's pulling down more money there than he would working as a petroleum engineer in his own country.
Which is not a lot of money, because he did share with us a typical monthly salary in Panama.
Yeah, and it's not a lot. And so what he does is he wants to send American dollars home to his mother, who's living in Venezuela, so that she can live. Because here's the problem with the whole communist dictatorship thing that's going on in Venezuela, is you're only allotted so much. So I always use bread as the example of things. So you're only allotted, say, one loaf of bread. So there's only so much out there when it comes out on a weekly basis. But it's all bought up by all the people that run the black market, the underground market. So then people like his mother can't get bread on the open market, so that she has to go to the black market to get it, where they're paying triple the price, and they're collecting it in U.S. dollars. That's why he sends U.S. dollars back to his mother so that she can live. Otherwise, it's a horrible situation. But this young man, this if that doesn't make you grateful enough for the country that you live in, then maybe this will. Because this young man, when he was growing up in Venezuela, has a brother they're a year apart. And they had school in the morning and school in the afternoon. And he only had one pair of sneakers. I know this sounds like
the family did, for the kids.
For the kids. I know this sounds like a kind of a made-up story or something, but if you talk to this young man, you'll know he didn't make straight up. He's not making this up. One pair of sneakers. So he would wear the sneakers in the morning, go to school, come back, take them off, so his brother could wear them in the afternoon and go to school. I mean, if that doesn't make you grateful, then I don't know what is going to make people grateful of the country that you're living in.
I just have to also throw in an observation. When we sat and chatted with him for quite a long time, listening to him tell this story, he wasn't whining and looking for sympathy. I found that extraordinarily interesting. He wasn't saying to us, look at me, you should feel sorry for me.
Poor me, give me a couple extra bucks.
Right, throw a couple extra dollars in the tip jar for me. No, we had this incredible discussion just about countries and politics.